Hi, welcome to the fifth part of the tutorial series talking about the CodeChat Literate Programming plugin. If you haven't been following along, make sure you go to the basic restructured text. You'll need to install Inky. We'll also be making use of the source code for CodeChat, so make sure you've got that downloaded and available, because we're going to be talking about basic Sphinx with CodeChat today. So let's switch over to Inky, where I'll close a couple of the default windows to give me a bit more space for recording this video, and then we'll just do some basic settings. First of all, from earlier, make sure that CodeChat is enabled in the literate programming section. For Sphinx, we do want Sphinx enabled, and for our project path, I'm going to navigate to the location of the zip file, those CodeChat files I downloaded, and I'll just copy that path and paste that in here. So that will configure Sphinx. Let's go ahead and open a file. Navigate again to the directory where you downloaded those zip files. Let's begin by looking at setup.py. I'll close a couple things that aren't relevant to this demonstration, just so we can focus on source code and the resulting web page. So as from before, we put comments in the source code. Here, for example, is a heading. Here's another heading, and you can see the corresponding results in the web page. We can put comments in and include all our restructured text. We can also, of course, put code in, have that be nicely syntax highlighted, and include all of our comments around it, hyperlinks, and all the good things. So that's one very helpful thing. A feature that Sphinx brings is this beautiful themes that Sphinx supports. The second thing is the ability to include a hierarchy of files. To see that, let's go take a look at index.rst. If we look at index, what's interesting here is the documentation sections now include the talk tree directive, which means I can include everything in a pure restructured text file, or if I would like, everything in C++ code, or in Python code, or in a cascading style sheet, because code and restructured text all operates the same. And notice what's happening. For example, in our tutorial that we're working through right now, here's tutorial. I've included it right here, and it's got all the sections of our tutorial built in. Likewise, if I open the style guide, style recommendations, it's got several subheadings included naturally. So you can mix restructured text and source code and create a hierarchy of web pages. And that's truly the power at work. To really take advantage of this, let's go and create ourselves a new project. I'll go and just create myself a new folder called CodeChat_Sphinx, and we'll just, as always, remember what that is by copying it. And now I'll go ahead and switch Sphinx to use that particular setting. So over here in literate programming, we need to keep CodeChat enabled. Sphinx, I'm going to change this project path to paste in what I just copied a moment ago, this directory where I'm going to start my new project. Hit OK on that. Now I don't need these files anymore, so let's just close all those out and create myself a new file as a demonstration. Another option here would be for you to open a source file that you already have, and I'll put some content in here. So for example, I've just typed in this code, an example function. We're going to return a+2, and we've got a variable int a, and I kind of put I like to comment parameters right above the parameter themselves. So just a simple C function. So let's go ahead and save this, and we'll put it in our document in our new project area. So I'm going to paste in that path we had before, that path. And let's just call this demo.c. It'll ask me if I want to create some template files. I do. So we'll go ahead and create those templates. We'll begin a build. And we've got a couple things. One is this sidebar really gets in the way. I'd like to remove that. A second thing is we get a complaint that the default theme has been renamed, and we need to fix that. A third nitpick is if we look at our code, it's not doing all the syntax highlighting that I would like for it to. It's getting some, but not everything. So let's go and fix those things. All that is contained by opening conf.py. So let's take a look at our configuration file, which tells Sphinx how we want it to build things and see what we can fix in here. First, here on line 76, the highlight language tells us the default language that we're going to highlight code in. And if this sidebar weren't in our way, we can click on a link there and get some nice description in our browser of exactly how that works. And it needs to be a balanced pigment lexers, and there's some more details there. For now, it's simple enough to say we're going to change that to C because this project happens to be C code. There's of course a C++ options and that sort of thing. Again, that hyperlink will fill you in on the details. Second, the HTML theme defines the overall look, and it was complaining about this. I'm going to switch this to Alabaster to get a more modern look. Finally, there was a sidebar here. By default in the Alabaster theme, it sort of puts that sidebar down at the bottom. An option if you use something else is to eliminate the sidebar entirely, and I can do that this way with this no sidebar true option. Again, I encourage you to follow hyperlinks, and it'll tell you what the options are by following further links and that sort of thing. So we fixed a couple things, but now we've got an additional error. It's saying we never included our document in any talk tree. So let's take a look at our index. And truly, we never told it to include demo in our index, so I'll just include it right here. And now notice our title comes in and our error goes away. So if I switch back to my original demo.c file, notice that we've got some improved highlighting and much more readable text now that we've gotten rid of the sidebar and things like that. So this concludes the example. Now you're able to put any file you want, include it in your index.rst, see it rendered with Sphinx, and I encourage you to go and do some great literate programming. We'll talk about more of what literate programming means in the following video.